Chapter 93. Honey-Drenched Halls. Summary. The storm has broken. For now. And it's time to go. They said it was time to go. Like, now. No one notices it at first. It doesn't happen abruptly. Just sort of fades away, like the morning dew disappearing from the ground after the sun rises. Izuku is relaxing, their time stuck in the hive nearing 35 hours, draining away the whimsy of the exaggerated structure, when he notices the quiet. Gone are the distant howls of ferocious winds battling outside with its wrath, and in its place, a peaceful silence, like the calm after the storm. Or perhaps, with the planet's seemingly turbulent weather, the calm before the storm. "Guys, do you hear that?" Izuku asks, peeking up from his spot in the bee pile. "Hear what, nerd?" Kachan questions distractedly, roped into helping Mei with her experiment some time ago. "The wind," he continues. "I can't hear it anymore." The group pauses in their various activities and fall still and quiet to listen for the subtle backtrack that has been their last day and a half. The silence is even louder now, buzzing in his ears with its lack. Izuku's not sure why, but it feels foreboding. "Hell yeah!" Kachan grins, sitting up despite Mei's displeased hiss. I am so ready for some real food," Mina groans, clutching her stomach dramatically. It's not hard to see the growing uneasiness below the exaggerated gesture when he feels the memories burrowing under his own skin. There was a reason most of them tended to have snacks on their person at all times. "Well, bees, it's time for us to go. Thanks for looking after us." Ochako smiled, rising from her personal swarm, with their original little bee friend still clinging to her jacket. "Oh, down you!" she scolded jokingly. As one would expect, the bee did not move. Mina pouted, reaching her arms out towards the bee. "Come on, Ocha! Don't be so mean. They can come with us until we reach the ship." The cat-sized bee released its grip from the pink-cheeked girl and puttered over to rest in Mina's hair. "We won't make it to the ship if you lot don't get your asses up," Kachan chided. "Who knows when the storm will start back up again, and if we miss this window, we'll be walking back in the reverse rain." Kachan's words spurred the others into motion, rising from their various positions and packing up anything that had been taken out, mainly Mei's lab away from home and makeshift honey capsules. Izuku had to dodge a few bees that attempted to nudge into him, perch on his shoulder, or, in the bigger bees' cases, smush him into the ground under their fluff. It was less than a minute before they were making their way back into the maze of tunnels, searching for one of the many exits. The sound of buzzing indicated that their fuzzy entourage was trailing after them. It made Izuku smile. The bees had been so nice to them, letting them stay in their hive and have as much honey as they wanted. If they were sentients, he'd be looking at them with a healthy amount of suspicion, but the fuzzy little creatures didn't seem to have any alternative motives. In fact, he'd seen many other insects huddled up in the hive when their group had been searching for a place to settle down, the bees not giving them a second glance as they went about their lives. It's no wonder the other insects would want to, with the storm raging outside, but it was really kind of the bees to let them. Izuku sidestepped another bee as they came upon a small gap in the wall. It probably wasn't meant to serve as a real entrance to the hive, more of a way to tell what the weather was like outside, but it was large enough that they should be able to make it through. Through the little sliver, Izuku saw a dazzling sight as the rainbow forest was covered in raindrops, making each surface shimmer with multicolored light. A wall of fuzz blocked his view. "Hey, could you scoot out of the way?" Mina asked the, "Wow, that was a big bee." The massive thing was the size of a hippo, with a deeper orange color than the others he'd seen. It buzzed, the sound a low rumble, as the smaller bees doubled their headbutting efforts. They seemed to be keeping them away from the exit. "Well, fuck! Were they about to be turned into honey or something?" "Move out of the way, you stupid bees!" Kachan barked. "We need to leave. Who knows when the storm is going to start back up again?" Ochako's brow scrunched in thought. Maybe that's why they won't let us go. If the bees aren't leaving to go get more nectar or pollen or whatever they get, maybe it means the storm will be starting up again soon. I, for one, would prefer to walk partway in the rain than starve here any longer, Mina said. Thank you for your hospitality, bees, but it's time for us to get going, Denki said, shooting them some finger guns. They're alien bees, Denki. They don't understand you. Izuku deadpans, to which Denki pouts in response. Let's get the fuck out of here, Kachan grumbled, taking a step towards the big bee. Another low buzz fills the space, sending a shudder through Izuku's body. More low buzzes echo in the distance, as if in response to a call. Ooh, Mei grins. These must be the hive's guard bees. Normally they're the same size as the rest of the hive, but with how varied we've seen the rest of them, it's likely that this species is much more specialized than the ones on Terra. Meaning these guard bees are gonna be even better than guarding than the ones on Terra? Denki asked weakly. Yup, Mei confirmed. We're much smaller than they are, and considering the ones back home are effective threats against most in their weight class? We should run? Izuku asked, already knowing the answer. Yup! This is worse than UA, Izuku complains as they sprint through narrow hive halls. He stumbled when his foot landed in a glob of sticky honey, the decreased gravity of the planet making him halt his movements more than it normally would have. But a tug from Denki has him escaping its hold. Shut the fuck up and run! Katsuki barks from the head of the pack. He's quick to follow after Mei when she ducks into a passage on the right. We're going vertical, she calls. Should I use my quirk? Ochako asks, wiping off her honey-covered hands. Mina shakes her head. We'll just get stuck if we hit the walls. Too much honey, and given how close together they are, not liking our chances there. She slips her hands into her costume's pockets. The beeswax shouldn't be too hard to climb, but here, take a knife. Not sure how similar beeswax is to ice LSD, Kachan said. And these are throwing knives, not ice picks. You take what you can get, she said, as she tossed him one. Izuku let the one she tossed him land in his outstretched palm. If the space was bigger, he might have been able to get everyone up with Black Whip, but the space was smaller than an elevator shaft. Only the smaller bees they've seen would even be able to fit up here. Though that was the whole point of them picking the small tunnels. Maybe those guard bees should have taken a page out of Earth's books. Bigger isn't always better. After everyone else was started up on the short climb, Izuku took the rear. The knife was a nice addition, but he was honestly so covered in honey that he didn't even need it at most parts. The path was full of grooves that acted as natural handholds, making it similar to a rock climbing gym, just with more traction. He was glad he'd stuck the knife between his teeth when the sound of crumbling was followed by Mei's shout of, Shit! Without hesitation, Izuku pushed himself from the wall and activated float, setting out Black Whip into the walls to anchor himself in the center of the tunnel. It was a bit overkill, but when the pink gremlin crashed into his arms, he was able to grab a hold and stop her descent. Mei shook her head, not bothering to grab onto him as he held her. Green Bean, you're glowing. Thanks, Izuku hesitantly replied. They'd all been covered in glowing honey for the last 5 minutes, so he wasn't sure why she was pointing it out now. He could see the cyan light coating her, which he didn't think had been strong enough to do before. Mei reached out to the wall, gathering a glob of honey in her hand before slathering it on his arm. Before he could complain, she speaks up again. No, you're really glowing. He watched as the amber-hued honey lit up a vibrant cyan, and wondered for a moment if he'd activated one for all. But no, it was just the honey, glowing brighter than ever before, bright enough that the walls of the passage were tinted green. A familiar grin spread across Mei's features. Nope. Mei, mad science time later. Escape now. She jutted her lip out in a pout, but made no moves to whip out a microscope, so he was pretty sure they were in the clear. "Deku, are you two okay?" Ochako asked from above. He gazed up to see the rest of them a little ways away, probably near at the top. "Yep, we're fine. Keep going. We're right behind you." He let more tendrils of Black Whip unfurl and dig into the walls above. "Eldritch Spider-Man," Mei giggled as they ascended.